Those at-home rapid tests continue to fly off shelves.
Yeah, many pharmacies are just straight sold out. And now the FDA is saying those tests may not work as well detecting the Omicron variant of COVID. Our BRIANA Whitney is here to explain what we know so far. BRIANA.
Well, these are the tests many people are using at their convenience at home, often before going to events or to family gatherings. But doctors say they've never been as reliable as PCR tests, and now they might be failing to catch Omicron cases. Wednesday, the FDA saying those at-home antigen tests used to detect COVID may be less sensitive to picking up the Omicron variant. That means a lot of false negatives.
We can't rely on the antigen test really for much. It's really something that when you're symptomatic, if it's positive, you know you have it.
Arizona College of Medicine Dr. Shadmar Vosti says this all comes down to which proteins the at-home antigen tests pick up, which are different than how they originally started.
And remember, the antigen test is really looking at proteins, right? And those proteins have already been mutated in Omicron. Versus a PCR test, it's actually looking at the real genetic material, which is the true essence of the virus.
The FDA says they're still working on learning how much less sensitive the tests may be to Omicron, but the recent studies with the National Institutes of Health showed they were less effective at identifying infections. These at-home tests are the ones many families have been using to get the green light to go see family if they test negative. Doctors say that's risky.
These are useful tests when you're doing serial tests. It's very hard to really just say, oh, it's a one and done. That's where it gets a little muddier.
VALLEYWISE's Dr. GOLDBERG says if you're going to use the antigen tests,
do a couple over a couple of days.
But if you're feeling sick, you really need to take it a step further.
So if you're symptomatic and you do a test and it's negative, I would say double check that by getting a PCR test.
Okay, so here's the good news for people in the Valley. Remember at the beginning of the pandemic when wait times for PCR test results were sometimes a week or two? Well, that's definitely not the case right now. The ASU Biodesign saliva test is a PCR test, and people have been getting those results back sometimes within 10 hours after taking the test. Other companies and doctors' offices are also seeing turnaround times from the lab, typically in 1 to 2 days max, so you can get those reliable results pretty quickly too. Live in the newsroom tonight, BRIANA Whitney for Arizona's Family.
So take several tests.
Right.